I want to talk about your wife for a split second because aside from index fund investing, who you choose to marry is one of the most important financial decisions one can make in their life. And so I want to know, is she as passionate about index funds as you are, or is she more kind of indifferent and that's your thing?
So the short answer is she's kind of indifferent and it's my thing. But she and I are very much in line when it comes to how we think about money. I mean, we're both sort of inherently frugal. I remember I forget, we were somewhere, we were talking to somebody about something and they asked a question like, well, so, did you guys talk a lot about money when you were dating before you got married and, did you know you were on the same wavelength? And I said, yeah, we didn't. I think we just got extraordinarily lucky. And I never considered those conversations. And then we got married, and it just turns out that we were on the same wavelength. And Jane looks at me, what are you talking about? On our first date, you told me I needed to save 50% of my income. I don't remember that. I mean, I'm sure it's true. I mean, because I can hear myself doing that.
Sounds like something I'd say.
It definitely sounds like me. But I was walking around with this idea in my head that no, we never talked about it. We just got lucky.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
that's
God.
hilarious.
But we did get lucky. She's not interested in the investment. So in our house, she spends the money and I invest the money. And she's not particularly interested in the investment side, and I'm not particularly interested in the spending side. Yeah. And she's, she's very, I'm lucky to be married to a woman who, when we have money conflicts, it's me saying, spend more. You can, and I can't, I've lost that battle. I can't get her to do that. But yeah, so she's very, very, she's an excellent shopper. She's very careful with the money and what have you. And that's worked out well. Now, one of the things I will say in all seriousness, to everybody listening, I think in most marriages, in most cases, there's one couple who's kind of handles the finances and then the other one not so much. And I have a very good friend of mine who, about probably 5-6 years ago now, died suddenly at the age of 57. Picture of health. I mean, this guy was, lean, strong. If you had told me I was going to outlive Joe, I would have bet everything I had and borrowed money to bet more. So we just never know. And it was a traditional marriage in the sense that Joe handled all the money and his wife, Debbie, didn't have a clue. And they had a really good marriage. So of course that was very traumatizing for her to lose her husband. But at the same time, I remember she said to me, I have no idea if I can stay in the house. I have no idea what we have. And so she's faced in this moment of incredible grief, having to figure out the really basic things with no background, no training. So one of the things that Jane and I do, and I highly recommend it, is anytime I do things with our investments, she's sitting next to me while I do it, and we walk through it together. And we talk about it a lot. So she's not particular, and I don't think she particularly enjoys that. It's not a level of interest, but she appreciates the importance of it. And so she always is happy to participate. So, she knows what we have, where we have it, and why we have it. And, if we change anything, why we're changing it. And the other thing I will say on that subject is one of the other beauties of the simple path to wealth is that we own very little. I mean, we own two funds, right? We own VTSAX and we own a bond fund, and we have a money market fund. And couple of checking accounts at banks to pay the bills, and that's it. So she's not going to have to sort through a whole bunch of individual stocks if I drop dead, or actively manage funds and try. She's not going to have to change anything once, if I die. I mean, it's just everything is, and we talk about that. So you're not going to have to do a thing. It's all, and that's the other reason we were talking earlier about my addiction to individual stocks. One of the things that keeps me from fooling around with them now, because in some ways it would be fun, is that, if I do that, then I am leaving her a burden. If I happen to die when these things are sitting here, because she's going to be looking at them, what am I supposed to do with this stuff? And if you own an individual stock, you always have to be thinking about when do you get rid of it? Because going back to what Mr. 1500 points out, companies come and go. Very few. I think he said something like 1 in 200 lasts for a long time. So anyway.
I'd never considered that. That's actually a really good point. I'm going
It
to add
is,
that
right?
to my argument arsenal. Where it's like, well, what happens if you fall over and die? Like, no one can manage that for you.
Yeah, what's the burden you're leaving behind?
Yeah.
And that, of course, opens your spouse up to, to all the charlatans that are ready to pounce. And so suddenly they're going to be getting all this advice, and they don't know why you own what the investment you own. It's going to be easy to say, well, you should start trading options,
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, there goes the money.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Cashing Out the Podcast. To see more videos like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to turn on your notifications. To get your copy of Cashing Out the Book, visit Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, or download the audiobook on Audible.